So, as of 2.0, we've been left with little tiny hints as to who Baal is, and well, I'm probably going to be proven wrong as soon as 2.1 is released. I thought I might as well throw my 2 cents in. So, let's get this Baal rolling. This is gonna be really awkward if I'm pronouncing her name wrong. I'm pretty sure it's right. I'm pretty sure, but if not, I'm so sorry. Before we actually met Baal, we learned about her from our conversation with Zhongli. We learned about the vision hunt and the fact that Inazuma has been closed down for a year, with Baal supposedly wanting to keep visions away from the people as they were of the divine domain. But that doesn't make a lot of sense. Sure, it's been a while since she gave out a vision, but Baal couldn't have always felt this way. If she did, why would she have ever given people the electro visions in the first place? An idea like that would make sense for something like, I don't know, something we've never seen. Like Dendro. Where's Dendro? That means that, while her ideal of eternity may not be new, her fear over people using visions to change the present is. And while I have thoughts as to why Baal is obsessed with eternity, we'll shelf that idea for later in this video and instead focus on the shift that happened a year ago. While we don't know all of the details about what the Fatui have been up to, we know that they're at least willing to reach out to an Archon and ask for their Gnosis. After all, Signora may have stolen Venti's Gnosis, but she also made a contract with Zhongli to be given his, and technically, Venti never confirms or denies whether or not the Fatui asked for his Gnosis. He just said he never thought they'd stoop to stealing one. So, it's entirely possible that the Fatui went to Baal and asked her to hand over her Gnosis as well. And since her ideal is eternity, I can't imagine that went very well. This could explain why Baal suddenly decided that anyone with elemental powers was a threat. If she felt that the Fatui would come and steal her Gnosis, she would worry that anyone but her most loyal would be out for it. Feeling it necessary to protect all of Inazuma, Baal would have then ordered the Vision Hunt decree to protect herself and the nation. She does come across as a sacrifice the one for the good of the many kind of type, after all. But at the same time, we see firsthand that Baal is capable of shutting down visions, a power that probably stems from the fact that Electro is seemingly connected to elemental energy. Look at the Abyss Lector being able to sap elemental energy from us, and the Hidden Palace of Nianshan Formula's leyline disorder. However, visions would still need to be confiscated in order to keep potential assassins or thieves away. After all, both Catalyst and Bow users can technically still use their elements in the fight with Baal after having their visions locked, which suggests that they still have some semblance of power. Plus, we've seen how forgetful and lost those who had their visions taken are. If someone were to come to Inazuma with the intention of stealing Baal's Gnosis, they'd lose that goal almost as soon as the vision was taken. Of course, Baal isn't just leaving the visions in some locked room. She's putting them, and seemingly anything with the ability to manipulate and conduct elemental energy, into the statue of the omnipresent god. And, well, I mean, sure, you do have to do something with all of those visions. A statue seems a little weird, especially a statue that you put right out front of your house. That seems a little blunt. Almost as if it's meant to be a warning. See, we already know that Baal can mess with the visions to prevent elemental energy from entering them, so who's to say that she can't pull on their energy to make herself stronger? If the threat that she clearly fears, be it the Fatui or some other possible doom that might be looming over Teyvat that we haven't been told about, which is definitely going to be there, comes knocking, she'd be able to fend them off using the visions found in the statue as a sort of buff. In this way, it sort of makes Baal like the protagonist of Fable 3, where you have to choose to do small evils to protect the people, or do things to make the people happy, but the war is gonna probably kill them, and she's just on the side of doing the things to save people. But why is Baal so obsessed with eternity anyway? Yeah, we're going back to that shelf topic now. During the 2.0 livestream, the head of the game's creative concept and writing team, Zhao Luhao, came on to talk about Inazuma. During the segment, Lu Hao mentions that electricity is often seen as a fast moment and prompted the viewers to think about what could cause the change in ideals. Later on, he also mentions that out of sorrow of loss, obsession is born, and that's pretty telling. After all, this information paints a picture of Baal that we haven't even got a glimpse of in game yet. One who is struggling to keep everything together through the grief that she's no doubt experiencing. We don't really have a lot of information about who could have caused the grief, but we do know of one death that occurred 500 years ago. During the battle with Conria, the god of wood ends up dying and passes down the title of Electro Archon to the god of wisdom. This loss could have shaken Baal, causing her to try and create an eternity where nothing has to change. No more war, no more death, no more grief. It's also possible that it wasn't the god of woods dying that created this mentality, but a loss that happened before she became an Archon, like how Venti has been shaped into the person he is today thanks to the nameless bard. This would also play a part in Baal coming across so cold. If the person she lost was someone she loved, it would make sense that she would be hesitant to let more people in. Her closed-off persona would be a coping mechanism of sort, like how Fischl uses her persona as the Prinzessin as a way of coping. First for her loneliness, and then later on with whatever supposedly happened to Amy in the library. See, when I talked about what personality traits cause someone to get a vision, I noted that the Electro visions seem to go to people who wish to protect things. But now we have a little bit of a deeper understanding of how vision works, and we know it's not based on personality, but ambitions. However, it seems as if the nature of said ambition is what determines the element given, so so I get half points for that, right? And while the desire to protect definitely plays a part in some of the Electro visions, like Razor, it could be a little bit deeper than that. It could be that Baal gives visions to those she sees herself in. After all, Bedeau's vision was finally granted to her when she was fighting Hyson, a water dragon. During the battle, Bedeau thinks that she just needs one strike to bring down the creature, and when she gets that strike and kills the beast, a flash of lightning comes and gives her vision. And going over it, that final strike seems a lot like what happened when Baal killed the giant serpent at Musho Gorge. So, with that in mind, we can move on to the final thing. A little closer look into who Baal might be based on the Electro users we've already met. First, we're gonna skip over Kujo Sera and Yae Miko, as both women are in position of power in Inazuma, and it would therefore make sense for the Raiden Shogun to bestow them with her blessing. Plus, we don't really know them yet to say what would give them their vision, so, no leaks. We stick to facts that have been released by MiHoYo only. And we can skip over Fischl and Bedeau, too, since we just went over how Fischl is the Baal who needs to cover her emotions, and Bedeau is the Baal who is an unrelenting protector. So, that leaves us with Razor, Kuching, and Lisa. First, Kuching. The similarities of the two are rather obvious. Both are dedicated to protecting their home countries no matter the cost. And if Kuching is anything to go by, Baal will also be hardworking, hardly ever taking any breaks in order to get everything done. In a sense, Kuching can be seen as a reflection of the current Baal. Liza, on the other hand, is not hardworking. In her little story blurb, it's very clear that she looks for any way possible to do as little work as she can. When she obtained her vision, Lisa was only thinking that she needs one so that she can conduct research on magecraft. But after she obtains her vision, and sensed the deep secret hidden in the shadows of knowledge, Lisa grew wary of the cost of having the power to change everything. In a way, it's like she was granted her vision as a warning, and going off with the idea that Baal sees herself and those he grants the vision to, this would suggest that she too was once curious about having the power to change things. In a way, this curiosity may represent the Baal who still embodied the idea of lightning being a moment, a Baal who was young, curious, and probably unburdened with grief. And finally, there's Razor. Razor obtained his vision when an Abyss mage attempted to kidnap him. But it wasn't from a desire to protect himself that caused the vision to appear. It was the desire to help his Lupical that had come to help him. Unfortunately, Razor was too late to save those who had been wounded in the attack, but he used this to motivate himself to get stronger. I think that Razor reminded Baal of her own pain and struggle. When she saw Razor struggling, desperate to help his family, I think Baal saw something that she had gone through. And in this way, Razor represents the moment that Baal became obsessed with eternity. Of course, while Razor had other members of his Lupical and eventually a number of friends to support him, I don't think Baal ever did. I think that it's possible that the grief that turned into obsession was all-consuming because there was no one to help her out. Well, Razor grief eventually faded, Baal's turned into melancholy, and she became obsessed with holding on to a moment, no longer willing to let time go. And I think that's how we have arrived at the Baal we have today, who's terrified of what the Fatui or some other threat might do to Inazuma.